So let's get this straight. You find a potential wholesale deal by either driving neighborhoods, using direct mail, or skip tracing. You speak with the owner, you look at the property, calculate your offer, the owner declines, saying that it's just too low. What do you do? Here you've spent a lot of time and money to hear a no. I would say a large percentage of people would probably give up and say this real estate thing just doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong, every successful investor has heard a lot more no's than yeses. You just got to keep moving on, right? In this training, I want to share with you some tips that will help you increase your acceptance ratio of yeses. This same strategy has helped me by 60%. Look, the whole point to get a signed contract so you can make money. It's harder to do this if you only make one offer. See, when you just make that offer, it's a take it or leave it approach. But if you make multiple offers at the same time, the owner has options. And when the owner has options, they get so confused on which offer to take, they fail to realize they didn't have to accept any of them. You see, every owner that wants to sell has a different reason for selling. You can't expect if you just make the same cash offer to every seller, it's going to meet their needs. Maybe they don't want to sell at a discount. Maybe they'll take payments. This happened to me years ago when I found a property that was on a golf course and the owner was just using it as vacation. Heck, he even built the house himself for this purpose. I contacted him and made a lowball offer, and he said no. I then came back and asked him if he would take payments for a short period of time if I paid him a little bit more, and he said yes, I'd be open to that. Now, most investors would have moved on to the next deal. I ended up owner financing it with $5,000 down with a 5-year term. Now, the main reason I wanted to do this training is because what if you live in a market where the inventory is low and the sellers aren't going to accept a low offer? Here's what I want you to do. You need to pay more attention to owners of a property that don't have a for sale sign. This is what we call an absentee owner. Once we find these owners, we can then make multiple offers and increase our chance of getting the deal. You can search nationwide for these owners right here in REIPro. Here you'll find motivated sellers that are going through some situation and need to sell. They just don't have the house up for sale. This is going to save you so much time and ultimately help you get more contracts signed. So let's jump into REIPro and show you how to make multiple offers on the same property. All right, so the first thing we want to do is actually go to our property section. We're now going to pull up the subject property, and I want you to scroll down to what we call executable step number 4. And this is where we're going to actually make our offers. So our first offer here is what we call our cash offer. So no matter if you're wholesaling or rehabbing houses, we need to pay the seller in one lump sum. So we've ran our comps and we've determined an after repaired value here of $162,500. Now I want to back out all of my expenses. So this offer formula is geared to provide you with a number that we can offer the seller. I'll show you later how we can really analyze if I bought it for this much and I did this with it, how much return would I get on my investment and so forth. So we're going to list all the expenses here. So the repair expense is very general here. $15,000. So this house isn't a property that just needs a ton of work, maybe a lot of lipstick, so it is livable. Acquisition costs. So if we went to the title company, purchased this property, it would cost us around that $1,450. Then we're going to have holding expenses. So if I'm rehabbing this property, I'm going to have costs associated while I'm rehabbing this property, such as taxes, insurance, utilities, and so forth. Below that is what we call closing costs. Now, these are the costs when you eventually sell it down the road. So imagine if you're a wholesaler and you assign your contract over to a retailer. At some point, they're going to fix up the home and sell it, right? So even if they rent it for 5 years, they're going to sell it at some point. We want to calculate the cost of closing at the same time. I see so many investors make this mistake. They just calculate the cost of acquiring it. They never really actually calculate the cost of selling it down the road. So that's where these closing costs are. Underneath that is our hedge expense. Now, I like to set this bar at 10%. And what that means is in case your rehab number, which was $15,000, was off, maybe there was a leaky pipe behind the wall, we're going to add in some buffer. And that's where that 10% of the $15,000, which in this case, $1,500. Next, if you know that you're going to market this property, any kind of advertising cost, you can put that in here, as well as if your rehabber is going to be using a realtor, or if you are the rehabber, you're buying the property, you're going to use a realtor, you'd want to put that in here. And then finally below at the very end are going to be our profit centers. So here we have our wholesaler assignment fee. So if you're not wholesaling it, you would just zero this out and the retailer would obviously have all the profit. But if you're wholesaling it, we want to put in our wholesaling fee here. Now it's a wide range. So many different variables of where you can put this number. But as far as the retailer's profit, I like to calculate at least 15%, meaning that if I wholesale this property over to somebody, a rehabber, I know that I have to calculate their profit in order to determine the correct offer. I see a lot of people, they don't actually include this particular number in their equation. And unfortunately, they put the houses under contract at too high of a price. So all said and done, what we're doing is very simple, is we're taking the after repaired value. So I went into REIPro, I ran comparable sales. We have all for sale by owner sales. We have all MLS sales in all 50 states. I ran the comps, determined my after repaired value. I'm then subtracting all of my expenses and all of my profit centers to ultimately come up with a cash offer. So here you can see the average cost here, the cost per square foot, the after repaired value we came up with, and backing out all of this, our maximum cash offer is just over 110. Now that is 68% of the ARV. Some people say, hey, if this number is above 65, just lower it to 65. Now we definitely don't want to start our maximum offer when we make the offer. So I want you to start a little bit less and I want you to make the number funny. So 107,870, right? So we want the seller to think, I wonder how they came up with that. Why did they come up with that number? Too many wholesalers, they'll just throw out kind of that, 90,000, 300,000. Make it a little bit different so it actually looks like you actually calculated this. Now here's the thing. If the seller says that's too low, I can't accept that. Well, number one, you can't wholesale it. Number two, you can't rehab it. If the numbers don't work, you have to move on, right? That's where the multiple offer system is going to come into play. So here at the very top, you have two other types of offers that we can make. Number one would be a lease option offer. And just for time's sake, I went ahead and put in some numbers here. Now remember, this is just what we are going to pay the seller. Now, typically with a lease option, the home has to be livable, right? It's just TLC, cleanup, paint, carpet, stuff like that. So I like to set my sales price at the highest. Okay, the down payment. So this would be a non-refundable payment that would be deducted from the purchase price. So from that 130 when the buyer buys. We agreed to pay a monthly rent of $1,000. You want to check your rent estimates. This particular property currently rents for $1,200 per month. I left out monthly credits in this particular example. We're going to do a term of 24 months. Now keep this in mind. You have the right or option to buy this property on or before 24 months. So I could buy it tomorrow or I could wait till that 24th month. Next is our repair threshold. We always have our buyers pay up to $500 in maintenance cost and repairs per occurrence. That way the landlord's not constantly getting phone calls say, hey, come fix my toilet, change the light bulb, all that crazy nonsense stuff. So although the seller's not getting a cash lump sum today, they're actually making more money. So here, we're offering that $130,000. They'll get a little bit of non-refundable. Plus, they're going to potentially have cash flow for the next up to 24 months. So this opens another type of offer that you want to present to the seller. And the last type of offer is a seller finance. Now with the seller finance, you can see I set the sales price at $120. Now with the seller finance, you're actually going to own the property, right? So the seller's going to become the bank. You are going to own it. You're going to take care of all maintenance costs, repairs, taxes, insurance, everything. So the owner really doesn't have anything to worry about at this point. They're now using this property as an investment, just as much as you're going to be using it as an investment. I do typically pay more down because they are going to be deeding us the property. So $5,000 down that would be credited to the purchase price. Then we'll amortize the loan. So you're going to need an interest rate. So I just put in 5%, which is going to be higher than if you went to a traditional bank or, going to live in a property. We're going to amortize it over 30 years with what I call a 5-year balloon, meaning that I'm going to make payments to the seller for up to 5 years. Wherever my balance is at the end of 5 years, I will need to go either sell the property to cash the seller out for the balance owed, or I could refinance the property and cash the seller out. Either way, we need to cash the seller out outside of maybe extending the term with the owner. We're not going to put in any additional principal payment. You could, again, that's optional. Again, remember, we're going to be taking care of the taxes and insurance on the property, so we need to throw that number in there. And then if there are HOA monthly dues, you would want to put that in there. So when we start to calculate this offer, keep in mind, it's just the offer. You can see our monthly P&I, so principal interest payment, is $617. No additional escrow payment, $220. Monthly total payment, $838. Balance at the end of 5 years would be $105. So that's that number that we're going to have to cash the seller out at 5 years. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to wait till 5 years. You could cash them out tomorrow, but you have up to 5 years. Monthly payments, just your monthly payments would equal $50,000. Total interest paid over 5 years, $27,000. So you could see the seller is actually making money by using it as an investment. Now, obviously, we're going to go do something with this property to make money on it as well. So total received that the seller's going to make is $160. So although we offered $120, when you add in all the interest and everything, and also keep in mind, the seller's not responsible for maintenance costs and repairs. So we take care of that as the buyer, the new owner. Now, down below, you'll see the amortization schedule. You could see each month how much goes to principal, how much goes to interest, and what that ending balance is. So these are going to be 3 offers. This is what we call the multiple offers. Now, in general, I want you to take a note of this. From a sales price point of view, your cash offer will always be the lowest. My lease option offer is always going to be the highest on sales price, and my seller finance offer is going to fall somewhere in between. Keep in mind, we could change these numbers. The seller could come back and say, no, I like the seller finance idea, but I really want 125. Okay, we want to make sure that those numbers are going to work. In order to determine if these numbers are going to work, you can then go up to our Deal Pro calculator. We're going to scroll up to menu tools. We're going to click on Deal Pro. So here we have this property where if I were to purchase it, let's just say I wanted to rent the property out, this is where you can go into a much more detailed analysis of if I bought it this way, and we have various ways that you could use this calculator on how to buy it. And if I rented this property out for X amount of time, you will actually get your cash flow, how much money you would actually make with this deal. Same thing, if they took the lease option offer, I'm going to go to a lease option. I'll probably lease option it back out. And here I actually did fill in the numbers here. So there's the offer we presented to the left. And here's what we're going to sell it for to a new buyer. And here we're going to stay in the middle of this deal. So once I set those terms, you can see a total net profit of just over $17,000. Now, if they took the seller finance offer, you have various different things that you could do. You could sell it, you could rent it, you could lease option it, or you could seller finance it. So you can analyze in multiple different ways on what your exit strategy is to find out what's going to work best for you in your situation. So highly encourage you to go back and see the full analysis with our Deal Pro calculator. It's one of a kind, and it's really going to help you understand, if I paid this much for a property and I sold it for this much, here's going to be my return on investment outside of what we could pay the seller. Now, let's go back to those offers because we have to make these offers. And the great thing is you could just go hit print offer. Now, I could take any one of these offers or all of these offers, and I'm going to now present them to the seller. So we have all the verbiage that you need. It's going to take your offer, put it on a piece of paper with some words, and now we could either hand deliver these offers or we can email the seller with these offers. So keep in mind, when you make multiple offers, your acceptance ratio is going to go up because it's not a take it or leave it approach. You're giving the seller options, which I love. Hope this training video helped and look forward to seeing you on the next one.